and welcome back to Healing Gems. I'm Gemma, thanks for joining me today. So this channel, if you haven't visited before, is all about healing strategies for healing and solving the puzzle of chronic fatigue syndrome. Okay, so I was asked to do a video on what to do when you catch a virus or a cold or the flu and you've got chronic fatigue. So I'm just going to take a few minutes of your time just to go through the strategies that I use in order to, one, protect myself from trying not to get the cold and flu in the first place. But obviously sometimes that isn't realistic and there are things that are going around, and what to do when you do actually catch something. And this is obviously quite apt with the weather changing and us coming into autumn and winter. This is where we have to maybe take a little bit more care of our environment and ourselves in order to protect ourselves and our healing. Okay, so preventative measures, and just before we get going on this, just to let you know, this is not in place of any professional medical advice. You know, if you feel like you need to go and see a doctor and you've got symptoms that are unusual for you, then that is the best course of action. Okay, so with that said, preventative measures that I do personally is I up my vitamin C levels. And with vitamin C, usually I would take a supplement in the form of either a powder, like a capsule with powder in it, or a liquid, or a dissolvable vitamin C tablet that you would put in water. Generally, I wouldn't take the really solid supplements because it's much harder for your body to digest them and extract the vitamin C from them. So I definitely up my vitamin C levels with supplements, and obviously, you know, fruit and vegetables, and just making sure I've got a healthy, balanced diet. Washing my hands more, sanitizing my hands if like I go outside, go, you know, whether it's to a shopping mall or a supermarket, or just going, you know, out to meet a friend. I take more care in washing my hands when I come back, making sure I'm not putting my hands in my mouth, sanitizing my hands on a more regular basis. You know, all the things that they suggested doing during COVID, because a lot of germs are spread by, you know, you picking something up and the germs still being on your body. If I know somebody is ill or someone's told me that they're not feeling well, I respectfully just ask them to just keep their distance from me for a while. You know, we can still have a conversation, but can you just stand a bit further away from me, or can we meet up another time? Because you've got to protect yourself and your own health before trying to please anybody else. And generally, if you say it in a kind way, you know, people understand that you don't want to get sick. And hopefully most people don't want to pass on their germs to people either. So if you're finding you're getting a lot of colds and flus, and I had this actually at the beginning of the year, I just kept picking up things and couldn't shake them off. And it turned out for me that my iron levels were really, really low. Well, it was anemic. So I would recommend that you, if this is happening to you, maybe go and get a test from your doctor, or you can purchase them online through these companies that offer different testing, and just get your iron levels checked out, because mine was so extremely low. And even you'll get a range with iron of like where, like the lowest to the highest. And even if you're at the lowest end of the iron range, you really want to be sort of somewhere in the middle to high, because even the low range of what is considered normal is low. And I was even off the scale further than that. So it's taken me a while to up my iron. You know, I started taking iron in the mornings, making sure that I was taking them without caffeine, you know, without food, to be able to absorb it as much as possible. And it made a huge difference. It made a huge difference to the colds and flus that I was getting. It actually made a difference in my chronic fatigue symptoms. It allowed me to go to the next level that I wasn't able to get to, because so many functions weren't happening in my body because of the lack of iron. So this generally, you know, if you're a woman and you maybe suffer with heavy periods and things like that, then, you know, this could be the case that you're deficient in iron. So get that checked out. Okay, So that's to try and the preventative measures. If you haven't managed to successfully avoid a cold, a flu, or a virus, then what do we do? Because we know, as having chronic fatigue, things like this will hit us harder than, say, like the average person. So what we need to do is treat the virus, cold, etc., as a crash, as an adjustment period, as a dip, because your body is going to be using more resources in order to heal itself, and therefore won't have that extra energy to feel better or heal something else in the body. So you have to treat it like a crash and pull back. You've got to preserve your energy as much as possible. So this will mean, increasing your amount of rest that you get, increasing maybe the meditation that you do. If you have a really strong fear and belief that a cold or a flu is going to knock you sideways and it's going to put your healing back months and it's going to take forever to recover from, and the more symptoms are going to come up, I really, really suggest doing emotional freedom technique, tapping on this. Tap on the belief of being sick and not and the cold pushing your health back. Tap on the fear that you feel, because we know that fear is the main driver of chronic fatigue. Fear will keep your body in an elevated stress state. It won't be able to heal. It's going to take much longer to recover from the cold. So you've got to keep that fear in check. So whether that's EFT, talking to yourself, reminding yourself that everybody gets sick sometimes, everybody will get a cold or a flu and feel unwell at some point, generally within the year. So just remind yourself that other people have this. A normal, healthy person who gets sick, when they do, they will maybe take a day off work. They will rest up a little bit more. Maybe they stop going to the gym. Maybe they try and eat a little bit healthier. So it's normal behaviour to, one, not like being unwell. No one likes to be unwell. But that person will not have the same fear that someone who has gone through chronic fatigue, especially if you developed it from having COVID, or like a jab or another flu, of course you're going to have a real sense of dread and worry about what this means for you. So EFT, keeping that fear in check, and know that this can just move through you just like it does any other person who develops a cold or the flu. So you can change this way of thinking and this belief that the flu is going to knock you sideways into actually something quite positive. You can treat this as a next step in your healing. So we all know to recover from EFT, we have to increase our stimulus, we have to increase our activity slowly in order to get better. So this cold or flu or virus, it is going to be another toll on your body. It's another stimulus for your body. It's another stress for your body to overcome. So we can just treat it like, okay, this is a healing exercise for us. We're going to treat this as an extra stress, like we would say if we were trying to increase our overload by walking, going to the gym, doing more mental activity. So we treat it like that. So you will have to reduce other activities that you were thinking of doing while you have this cold, and you're using the cold as your like extra stimulus. But look at it in a good way. This is, once you're out of it, going to take you to the next level of healing, providing you don't freak out, providing you keep your fear under control, providing you give yourself the ample rest and comfort and TLC that your body needs, whether that be a day, a week, 2 weeks. Listen to your body. That's what I always say. You've got to listen to your body in order to progress. So I think they are the main points. And probably the biggest thing to stress is, do not push through it. Do not try to just see like, okay, I've got this cold, I'm going to just try and maintain my baseline as to where I am right now. Try to just think of it as like an adjustment period where you've got to pull back a little bit, you've got to rest a little bit more, you've got to take care of yourself a little bit more, and this enables you to then go forward and get to that next level of energy, of health, and of vitality in the body. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please put them below. Please subscribe and send to anyone else that you feel could benefit from this video. And also let me know, I'm thinking of putting together some short bite-size online training courses to help people recover from chronic fatigue. So please let me know maybe what topics you would like to be covered in more depth, because I can do bite-sized chunks that I just put out there for people to buy at a very reasonable rate that will just enable you with your healing. Okay, so thanks again for listening, and namaste for now.